Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Really appreciate you guys joining us today. Your 2025 Productivity Toolkit, that's what we're going to cover. My name is Damien King. I am the Director of Solutions here at Time Doctor. I'll be your host, if you will. And I'm joined by my colleague, Antonio Gonzalez. He is our Group Product Manager. He's going to be giving us a closer look at some of the exciting product updates that we've been working on throughout 2025, and also going to give us a sneak peek as to some of the things that are going to come before the year is out. So stay tuned. Also, in the chat box, please tell us where you're joining us from today, right? So I'm currently in Ireland, and Antonio is in Spain. So yeah, drop it in the channel. It'd be great to hear from you. So, just before we dive in, a couple of housekeeping items. If you could please keep your mics muted, just to keep things running smoothly. Don't worry, we will have plenty of time at the end for questions. So if you do have questions, don't hold on to them to the end. Pop them in the chat box, and then we'll have time at the very end to be able to go through them all. So yeah, just pop them in that Q&A panel. It should be, I think it's just a chat box right below you. And as I said, we will save time at the end to address as many as we can. And yes, we will share the session recording once it's finished. So you will get a copy afterwards in your email, seeing as you've registered for this event. Okay. So let's take a look at the agenda, what we're going to go through today. So as I mentioned, inside the Productivity Toolkit, okay, so the 2025 releases that we've had and that we are to have. So firstly, we're going to look at Benchmarks AI. Really, really exciting. Probably the most exciting recent release that we've had. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at Office versus Remote report. Again, very insightful if you're trying to figure out where your productivity is most effective, right? From an office, hybrid, or remote environment. Then we're going to cover break management along with some wellness reminders. We'll also kind of cover identical screenshots, video recording, and as I mentioned already, we will give you that kind of sneak behind the curtain or sneak peek of what we do have coming up, which is meeting insights. And Antonio is going to delve into more detail there. And as I mentioned previously, plenty of space at the end for a Q&A. So over to you, Antonio.
Hola, hola. I'm super excited to be presenting the Productivity Toolkit. But before we jump to the topic, we would like to ask you a question to get to know you a bit better. So just in a few seconds, you'll see a window just popping up here on Zoom, asking you what you need most to finish this year strong. So there are a few options. Just pick the one that resonates with you the most, and we'll share results. Probably we just take 1 minute, 1 minute and a half. So start just responding to those.
Yeah. And just to
Damien,
call them out, finally to know if my team is crushing it or just looking busy. See if the office home or hybrid hustle actually makes us work better. Escape the admin black hole and cut down on manual tasks, or shine a light on the meeting monster eating our time. Yeah, you're going to ask me which one I pick. If I was choosing, I've changed my mind. I did have an answer to this previous, but I'm actually going to say shine a light on the meeting monster eating our time. For me personally, that's something that I think I really need to be more cognizant of. The amount of time, literally the sheer amount of time I spend each week on meetings, and how I can try and pull that back a little bit to actually focus on work that kind of drives me forward more. What about you, Antonio?
I stick to my previous answer, my reasoning, which is like the manual tasks and the meeting monster. I think a combination of both are really draining productivity. So yeah, I'm just curious to know what everyone voted. So probably we can close now the voting and see the results.
Well, you should be able to see these results. So I think there's a pretty clear winner here. Is my team crushing it or just looking busy? And then we have office, home, or hybrid hustle, which makes us work better. In second place, escape the admin black hole, cut down on manual tasks. And then no one voted for my one, the meeting monster, meeting our time. Well, look, I'm not surprised. There's some really good ones there, really, really good insights. So thank you for that. So, yeah, over to you, Antonio.
Yeah. So let's talk about productivity. But before we jump into that, we also want to acknowledge how Time Doctor contributes to the future of work, to shaping the future of work, what it means for you. Because I'm fairly sure if I ask everyone in the audience how you used to work 5 years ago and you compare it to today, it's radically different. And if we could foresee how it will look in 3, 5 years from now, it's probably radically different as well. So we know that work evolves, and in Time Doctor, we go with that trend as well. We mainly focus on providing you the insights that you need to really understand work days and how we are contributing to that shape of the future of work. It's through four key aspects. The first one is organizational efficiency, especially during these days when AI is all over the place. It's not just about individual productivity, but how those individuals work together with AI to contribute to the efficiency, the effectiveness of your organization. It's also about smart insights. At Time Doctor, we have a lot of raw work data that we transform into meaningful, intelligent recommendations for you as leaders. So basically, delivering clarity. And this implies focusing on what to do next. So we provide information on what happened and also on what to do next. This basically means no more guessing game and clear recommendations. And lastly, AI. AI as a copilot for team performance. One aspect that we definitely understand at Time Doctor in order to give and provide top down, organizational, wide perspectives is the power of structured data. It's the foundation of like continuous innovation, not just at Time Doctor in general. So we like to frame it as our intellectual property is your advantage. So those are the four pillars, the four visions that we have when it comes to shaping the future of work. And with that, we're ready to jump into the productivity toolkit.
Yes, yes. So I'll be walking you through how these tools fit into your strategy for finishing the year strong. Okay. Antonio will be jumping in to, he has to do all of the hard work, right? So I just get to kind of present these parts. He'll be jumping into the actual tool, a demo of the platform to show us how the features actually work live. So with that, let's get started. Okay. Let's talk about our first item on the agenda, the first exciting thing that we've released this year, which is Benchmarks AI. So one of the questions I get a lot, almost always, is what does good look like? Because with Time Doctor data, it's very easy to understand what your environment, your company, your team, your users, what they're doing, and then you can benchmark against other people internally in the business. But that's quite one dimensional, it's quite siloed. It doesn't give you the full picture. What Benchmarks AI helps to answer is analyzing your team's real work habits, comparing them to similar users and teams across the globe. So our data set of more than 250,000 users of 12,000 organizations. So that's exactly what it does. It allows you the chance to look over the fence or to be able to try and benchmark and figure out what good actually looks like, not within your own company, but in comparison to other similar users and teams. So you can apply Benchmarks AI actually in four main ways. There's one that I literally just added, but like the three main ones that you can see here. So strategic planning and performance reviews. So using metrics like total hours, which Antonio is going to go through now in a minute, but total hours, productive time, percentile ranks. You can get early detection of underperformance. Okay, so you can see those trends happening in real time. So spotting drops in productive time or unusual activity and increase in unusual activity. And then you can really use it for goal setting and coaching, right? So enablement, seeing those trends happen and then being able to coach and then see those results after a few weeks or months, right? Clear data backed benchmarks, okay? And then a fourth one that I have is overall wellness and work-life balance. So with Benchmarks AI, you can kind of benchmark your team or your users against similar AI match profiles to figure out, okay, are we seeing early signs of potential burnout for this person? Are they working too many hours a week, et cetera, et cetera? So you get to see it on a much more macro level to be able to make more legitimate, accurate business decisions. So I'm going to hand it over to Antonio now. He's going to jump into the platform, show you what it looks like. So yeah, go for it, Antonio.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Damien. So hopefully by now you're looking at Time Doctor. I'll make myself a bit smaller. And what you're seeing on the screen is Benchmarks AI. It's a new report under Reports, available for premium customers and also as an add-on. And here you can visualize relevant key metrics like total hours, hours tracked, productive time, active time, and useful activity. And what you're visualizing here, it's basically how the selected users, for example, let me just pick the product team, which I'm part of. You're visualizing how the product team benchmarks against top 25, bottom 25 percentile of similar profiles. You can also leverage the whole massive data set that we have at Time Doctor and basically compare the product team with all profiles that are at Time Doctor. But the real value lies in comparing not just apples to apples, but green apples to green apples. Because the way that Benchmarks AI works is it understands based on how people work, the role that they have, and which similar roles it can compare against. There's nothing manual for you to enter, like saying, okay, Antonio is a PM. It does, LLMs do this automatically. And here you can use Benchmarks AI in different ways. Damien was explaining a few use cases. I'll just share some examples. I just selected a few more groups. You can actually click show groups individually and actually benchmark those teams against each other to see like, okay, on total hours tracked. And you can actually click on every week to dive deeper into the details. So you could explore like the percentile of each individual. So Damien was talking about risk of burnout, workload, etc. You can just go to total hours and see those who are on the very high percentile and see if that sustains over time, because that might be, a risk of burnout. Another aspect or another use case that Damien explores goal setting. You now have the answer of what good looks like. So you can actually just, establish goals like, oh, we want our team to go towards the top 25 percentile or even more. At the very bottom of the report, we also talk about tool and app usage. And we categorized all the work that we do in 3 groups: collaboration, task completion, AI. Collaboration is like meeting software like on Google Meet, on Zoom, task completion, or like Asana, Jira, etc. AI tools, AI. And this is where we also see a very strong, powerful use case of Benchmarks AI, because nowadays everyone's talking about AI and everyone's like running in circles on how to adopt AI in their organization. So Benchmarks AI can also help you there. With the widget of AI tools percentile, you can actually explore who are the champions in your company who are always showing a super high percentile, because they might be the early adopters, the ones that are knowledgeable, the ones you can build a community of practice around, so they lead that AI transformation or journey.
Yeah,
And
Antonio, very good. It was really reassuring. It's actually a reassurance as well for me because like everyone thinks of like, oh, like I'm outside the norm. Like for example, in the collaboration tools one, right? When I ran my own data through benchmarks, I could see very clearly that like, you know, I'm not outside of the norm. Yes, it's maybe a little bit higher than I'd potentially like, but it's reassuring to know that I'm not the only person who uses too many collaboration tools, basically, because it compares me with other AI matched profiles, people who have the same behavior and do the
Yeah.
same things every day. Again, what's great about it is it's not comparing industry to industry or company to company. It's comparing people who perform the same day-to-day job that I do through AI. That's why it's most insightful for me. So yeah.
Indeed. So that was it for Benchmarks AI. Let me go back to the slides and let's continue.
Excellent. Okay. So next, let's talk about productivity by location. So again, this is something that comes up quite a lot. Now, it depends where you are as a business, but I think where, in the post-COVID world, after a lot of people settled into that rhythm of fully remote, and then we're seeing a lot more of an uptick or transition now back to at least, hybrid, to in some cases kind of fully office-based work environments. We actually encounter a lot of companies that are they're at the crossroads of making that decision, right? So they're saying, okay, well, how do I know that my remote employees are being as productive as my office-based employees, and vice versa? So the office versus remote report automatically classifies each day as office, remote, or hybrid. And what you can do is you can compare things like work hours, start and end times, idle times, and overall productivity by location. So very quickly you can make that decision as a business as to whether it's, the path that you're on is the correct one, or whether you need to kind of course change and maybe have more hybrid or more remote. Some practical use cases that we can see, right? So running a remote work pilot, for example, okay, tracking whether productivity remains consistent outside the office. This is a great one if you're looking to offer more flexibility and more remote work to your employees. Or running A/B tests. This is one that we encounter a lot. When I mentioned that companies are at that crossroads, running A/B tests with different teams, different setups to see which model works best for you as a company, because it's not a one size fits all. So that being said, Antonio, back over to you if you want to jump into the office versus remote report.
Perfect. Let's jump into it. Let me just ensure I'm here on the screen. And Office versus Remote, it's also a new report available under Reports. It's for premium customers and also available as an add-on. And let me just expand to 1 month. At Time Doctor, we all work fully remote. So in order to present the information, we basically simulate that some people are in an office. And the way that the report works, it's basically you need to tell the system what it means to be in an office. And you do that by configuring Office IP address here at the top right corner. And once you click, you will see that it asks you to introduce public IP address that correspond to the office. So this is like the first step. This step is for owners and admins. Managers can access the report, but they cannot configure what an office is. So you can just introduce those public IP addresses, and automatically the system will understand that every person who connects from that IP will be labeled as Office. We also provide an automatic detection of Office based on Wi-Fi name. So if 5 or more people are connecting through the same Wi-Fi network with the same name, that's directly labeled as Office. And with that information, we present some key metrics that might be relevant for you. Again, let me, for example, just pick my team, the product team. And as I mentioned, we all work remote. So that's why Office here looks so small, basically because we were faking that public IP address. But what you see here is just comparison between Office days, remote days, and hybrid days. Hybrid days are those days when an employee works both in the office and remote. And you can see average start and end time, idle time, unusual activity, and productivity breakdown. You can also dive deeper into some details on the top widgets. So let's say you started a policy where Mondays you expect everyone in the office, and Fridays are like everyone is remote. So you can easily see that information just clicking on view details here at the top, and you will see a per day distribution. So let's say, I don't remember, I think I said Monday, everyone should be in the office. So you can actually just click on that Monday and you will see, okay, well, everyone is remote because in Time Doctor, everyone is remote. But you would expect here to see like office, 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 and the actual IP addresses. And you can do that also for Fridays to check that everyone is remote, or a different visualization. If you click on view details on the top left widget, what you will see it's basically a per user breakdown. So you can check, for example, in my case, okay, Antonio, during September, where was he actually working? And you will get that information. So remote all the time, and these were the IP addresses. And this is office versus remote. Let
Right.
me go back to the slides. Just one second. There we are.
Sure thing. Very good. Very good. Thank you for that, Antonio. Okay, so as you can see, we're going to shift to break management improvements. So with the new setup, you can manage both paid and unpaid breaks from a single settings page. Okay, so automatic tracking ensures only the allowed break duration actually counts. So no need to kind of like micromanage, right? Or so when you see people overextending their breaks, having to have managers reach out, etc., etc. Not a great experience for anyone involved. Payroll and reports stay accurate without manual corrections. Okay, so without having to edit it after the fact, and employees get confidence in fairness and transparency. Okay, so in summary, in terms of breaks management, inaccurate payroll and reports from over limit or unpaid breaks, it essentially leads to poor workload planning and potential disputes. Okay. Manual break adjustments waste valuable manager hours, right? Manager having to go in there and sift through all the data, and micromanagement drains team confidence in general, right? So this is kind of like why we were looking to instill these new updates. So Antonio, I think you're going to jump in just for another quick demo of this feature.
Yeah. Yeah, this one will be very quick. So breaks, as you probably know, under settings, breaks, and admins can create breaks. And as Damien said, paid or unpaid. Very simple to create an unpaid break. You just toggle this on, and everything else remains like as we used to have with paid breaks. So you can just establish a limit of the minutes and make it specific for users, groups, or the whole organization. Unpaid breaks, they don't mess up with like hours tracked or payroll. So for example, this is my user dashboard from yesterday. I took an unpaid break and I took a paid break. Unpaid break was my meal break, my lunch break. And let me zoom in a bit so you see the difference, which is basically an unpaid break has this light gray dot in the center, and this one, it's a paid break. So it's not just differences in how we visualize it, but how we count towards payroll hours track. Break time, it's only 14 minutes because it's actually the paid break that I had. It's not counting the unpaid breaks. It's not showing anywhere. And if you're wondering how interactive users will see this information in the app, let me just share it very quickly. So at the very bottom, you have all the breaks that you have created for your employees. And when you hover, we tell it's an unpaid break. And it also has this dollar symbol strike through representing this is unpaid. So let me quickly go back to the slides to continue talking about breaks, because there is another very relevant topic and it's coming soon. So this is coming soon in the next few weeks. It's wellness reminders. And probably this resonates with all the HR people in the room, as it solves actually two challenges that you might face. The first one is about sustainable pace, keeping sustainable productivity with employees, ensuring that they take breaks on some cadence. So wellness reminders allows you to set them up, set the cadence at which you want those reminders to show. It's basically gentle nudges that are non-intrusive to users when they're working, and they can dismiss them, continue tracking time. We're not stopping the tracker. It's basically on them to decide how they want to behave, but we're basically encouraging them through this wellness reminder that you configured to take a break. And the other challenge is also with regulations, California laws, European regulations that encourage well-being in the workplace through something like wellness reminder. So every time you've been like 2 hours in front of the screen, ensure you take a break. Just like look somewhere else, go back. So this is coming soon. It's part of our break functionality, and stay tuned.
Yeah,
Back to
thanks for
you.
that. Yeah. So screenshots. This is nothing new, particularly about screenshots, but what we have done is we've improved screenshots, okay? Because a lot of the feedback that we received from you as our customers was, okay, screenshots are great. They can provide a lot of insight into what's happening throughout a workday, but it's nearly too much, right? So it's like how to find what you're looking for. So that was the feedback that we received when we released screenshots. It was taking too long, essentially, to find the insights and get the information you need quicker. And again, like what I just spoke about with with the breaks thing, micromanagers, managers themselves spending too long in the Time Doctor console itself, we don't want that. We want you to be able to get the insights that you need and then go on about your day, right? So we listened, we made improvements. So now you can instantly group identical screenshots. So instead of reviewing repetitive screenshots that slows managers down and it wastes valuable time, you can, if you're selecting for a specific user, you can just click to show identical screenshots, make it much easier to be able to traverse throughout their day and paint that full picture. You can also dive into video context when you need the bigger picture. That's with our continuous video option as well. Again, that can save leaders hours every week. And time spent, essentially time spent on unnecessary reviews, it's going to take your manager's focus away from meaningful work. Okay, that's not the job of a manager, is to sit in Time Doctor and constantly hitting refresh. Again, they want to try and get to that data point as quickly as possible so they can go on about their day. So, Antonio, again, I know this must be tough for you at this stage, having to jump in and out, but yeah, you're doing a great job. I'm glad it's not me, essentially.
Don't worry. Zoom, it's making it easier for me to move from the slides to our product. So don't worry. Talking about screenshots, well, it's under our screencast page. And what Damien was presenting was basically the filter that we have here at the top, identical. Let me actually select the whole month. When you click here, the system automatically detects those screenshots that are very, very similar. And I'm not saying identical 100% because there's a small percentage of variation on the screen that corresponds to the mouse, the cursor of the mouse just moving to somewhere else, or the clock or the watch just changing the time. So there are some like very minor variations, but they are highly similar, identical. And you can easily see here that just on the spot, it filters by those screenshots that are actually similar. Worth to say that this identical screenshots filter, it doesn't work with video screen recordings. So it only works with actual screenshots. So if you have video screen recording enabled for some user, it's a premium feature that it's also available as an add-on. Identical screenshots don't filter that videos are the same. It only works with screenshots. And with that, let me go back for a second to the slides and talk about the last topic of the productivity toolkit. It's called meeting insights. Most of you remember that the first half of the year, you saw this meeting time new metric that we launched, which is basically a metric that shows you the time spent in webs or apps that require microphone usage. This is regardless of being muted or unmuted. If the application needs access to microphone for whatever reason, that's labeled as meeting time. This is a very accurate way to track meeting time because we all know how our calendars look, and sometimes we have no shows, meetings run late or cut short. So this is basically a very accurate way to track meeting time. And what we're doing is we're taking it to the next level. I wonder how many of you have heard the sentence, "We have too many meetings." So
Yeah.
basically, we are introducing in the next few weeks further meeting insights, not just a report, but additional data points for you to be able to assess, are we having too many meetings? Are we actually going more async? Because it's not just about going remote, it's actually about becoming async. Are we actually balancing properly the workload when it comes to calls, etc.? So let me go to our product in a second. While I do that, the QR code that we have on this slide, you can scan it if you want to get early access. We'll start releasing this to beta customers in the next few weeks. So if you're interested, scan that code and I'll show you how it looks. All right. I'll use this approach. So before I show you Meeting Insights report, I want to show you a few things that we also have added related to Meeting Insights that will come soon in the next few weeks. If you're a premium customer, we'll also make it available as an add-on. If you select more than 7 days in user dashboard, you can actually now visualize the trend of meeting time to basically assess, like, meeting patterns, the meeting culture. In my case, I try to avoid meetings during Mondays and Fridays. So you could see how this is usually like going up, going down. And you can visualize the same information on team dashboard. For the teams that you selected, you will also see the trend over time. So basically to assess, are we getting more async? If you are on HR, is the documentation initiative that we're running paying off? Are people actually reading more documentation and skipping meetings, so becoming more async? And also in executive dashboard, you will see on the spot the distribution of meeting time per groups. So you could see those that are heavy on meetings, like you would expect sales, customer success to be very high there, while IT or technology teams, not so high. And lastly, in activity summary, we have also introduced the columns meeting time and the percentage. So it's easy for you to basically export the information, see the information in just one place. But that's not all. When we talk about meeting insights, we also talk about meeting insights report. And this is a report that we'll be releasing in the next few weeks that basically tells you a story about your meeting culture. It talks about the number of meetings that the selected users, let me actually just select my team, product team, number of meetings during that time frame, the average meeting duration, average idle time per meeting. You can actually explore, are my teams multitasking? during meetings? And are we actually compliant? Are we using the right tools to have meetings? So this basically shows you web and app usage during meetings. So if you use Zoom, you would expect Zoom here to be top one rather than Google Meet. And we also show idle time during meetings and outside of meetings. So basically, this gives you information about that activity level when people are in meetings and when people are not. And that's it for meeting insights. Let me just go back to the slides. Okay, here we are.
Yeah, thank you for that, Antonio. I think, yeah, that one's really exciting for me, because I think it's going to just be a great way to really just showcase how much time is spent on meetings. Like I can get to that data point, but this just really kind of puts it in its own bucket. So, and I think also just to add to that, a lot of what we're doing in terms of capturing that meeting, like if it's an application that requires your mic to be turned on, that is such an accurate way to do it. When we think about some of the other kind of platforms out there that are similar to us, they rely on a calendar integration, which, a meeting in a calendar doesn't mean that there's a meeting. It doesn't mean that it actually happened. People can add meetings in their calendars all the time. It doesn't mean it's fact. It's not something that's actually tangibly happened. It's just literally pulling data from a calendar. So I think it's a really unique and innovative way to do it. Like if there's an application that requires a microphone, we count that as a meeting. So just to kind of bring this one home, add-ons. So we've expanded our ecosystem with new add-ons. So historically with Time Doctor, we've had pretty simplified pricing packages. We've had basic, standard, and premium. Now we have the capability for you to be able to add on, so you can really customize your package. So let's say, for example, if you opt for standard, because you don't need everything in premium, you can also select the unique things that you want to add to that standard package, right? So for example, office versus remote reporting, unusual activity report, video screen recording, single sign-on, and BigQuery access. So essentially, they give you flexibility. Whether you want to streamline workflows, stronger security, or deeper analytics, our add-ons help you do that. So if you're interested in adding something to your existing package, please let us know. We can walk you through that. We can tailor a package to suit your needs exactly. So we should have a poll popping up now. So just please fill out the poll to let us know. There we go. So yeah, would you like to receive a 14-day free trial of our premium features, see how they can support your business? Yes, I already have the premium features, or not interested at the moment. So yeah, I'll leave the poll up for another probably a minute in total, I'd say. Give you a chance to. Okay. And we probably have about 7 minutes, I think, for Q&A. So we'll get to those now. Okay, look, I'll just end the poll here. There's a nice mix there. And excellent. Okay, thank you all. So just to recap, 2025 Productivity Toolkit is here to help you. So benchmark your teams against global peers with AI, understand productivity across remote, in-office, or hybrid environments, manage breaks and wellness proactively, and unlock smarter insights into screenshots and meetings and beyond. So thank you all for joining us here today. We do have time for a Q&A. So if you have held on to any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box into the chat box below, and we will dive in. So let me see if I can cover some of these here. Okay, so we have a question here. Antonio, this one could be for you. Is there a way to compare the screenshots with the connected projects and tasks to make sure they are consistent? Would you consider AI to do this in future? Interesting.
Yeah, indeed. I was responding in real time at the very end because I was managing the chat with the slides, and I definitely think it's worth exploring how AI can shorten the time between a question and an answer in our product. So definitely not out of the table, I would say. And my response to the next question as well, it's fairly similar. So the other question was, is it possible to have an exportable report that will give us user-wise data of identical screenshots, total time, under identical screenshots for time range? So not currently, not at the moment, but definitely something that we might explore. And at the very beginning, when we talk about shaping the future of work, that's where that's where we envision Time Doctor to move forward. So basically leveraging AI to shorten the time between your questions and the answers that we provide through exportable reports or through just direct insights.
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, I think there's a lot more to come. So there's a lot of exciting things that we're working on. Don't worry, Antonio, I'm not going to reveal any of it. That is for Q4 and into 2026. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up there. Again, really appreciate you all joining and for listening to our presentation and going through everything. If you do have any additional questions, or if you need any feedback or want to reach out to us to have a chat, please do so. We're more than open to do that. There's one last question here I just want to cover. We have common tasks under hundreds of projects. Currently, we have to manually add tasks under each project. That is too tedious. Okay. That's quite a specific question, but yes. What we can do is why don't you reach out to us so we can have a chat? If that's something that you're struggling with, we're always more than happy to help, whether it's along the lines of a new product release or whether it's something that we can help you in the here and now. Please reach out to our team, whether that's support team or if you have a dedicated CSM. We're more than happy to try and troubleshoot and try and come up with some suggestions to help. So yeah, thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And we will chat soon. All
Thank
the
you.
best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.